All right, to add some divider lines between the people on this conference call, I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. First will be, of course, the quickest and easiest way. Go down to OpenFX, and you've got that one here, grid. Drag and drop it on there. Well, of course, our grid doesn't quite look like what we want. No problem. In your inspector under FX, well, I've got 2 rows, so I want to change my rows to 2. And I've got 3 columns, so I'm going to change my columns to 3. Well, that's pretty good. Actually, they're relatively online, but we got a couple problems here. One, I want it to be black, not white, so I'm going to select my color. And I want my lines to be a bit wider. So at this point, you just start playing with the settings in order to get them where you want. So let's widen up my middle line just a bit and widen up my vertical lines just a little bit so they're the same. And as you can see, it's still off center. So let's pan it to the left just a little bit. There we go. And my middle lines are going to be off. No problem. We can fix those. And there we go. So it takes a little playing with. So as you can see, I had to adjust a lot of my zoom and height, and I had to change the image itself just a little bit and zoom into that. But you get the point there, that way you can actually zoom in on whatever it is you want. The downside of this, of course, is, so let's say I'm working with a video and I make a cut here, and now this section of the video maybe I want to be zoomed in on. Well, it'll zoom the video in, but it doesn't zoom the grid with it. So there is that. You can do a couple things in order to get around this. So that's the basic way. The next way I'm going to show you, so for the second example, I'm going to use this grid of 4 people here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to select new compound clip. And I'm just going to leave it at the default name. With that compound clip selected, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go open in timeline. Keep in mind you need to have your timeline view options set to this first one. If it's not set to stack timelines, it won't open. So now with that one open, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing I did with the first one. And we've got 2 rows, 2 columns. I'm going to change this one to red so that it stands out a bit more against that black background. And let's change my width so that way the width fits. And there we go. So that's done. Obviously, it's a square image instead of the full frame here. But the nice thing about this now is, so if I go back to my timeline, you can see that it's still got the outline like I want. And unlike with that first one, if I need to do an edit, and now if I go to zoom in and zoom out, it will actually zoom in and zoom out along with the lines. So it actually makes it a bit easier in that case if you're going to be doing some other edits. Now, the third way that you can deal with this, which is also a very good method, is I'm going to grab an adjustment clip and I'm going to place that over it. And I'm going to apply that grid to the adjustment clip. I'm not going to spend as long on this one as I did last time. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah, I know it's off alignment on there. Again, you could play with your zoom and your width and your height in order to get that exact. But the reason why I put it on an adjustment clip is, let's say I've got another video, not necessarily with these 6 people, but a different 6 people. Let's throw those on there. Let's zoom in and get it so that it's relatively close. This is all under the assumption, of course, that your video has the same dimensions. But the nice thing about it is, if this video with the 6 people had the same dimensions as this video, I can now just take that adjustment clip and I can copy it and apply it to that one as well, without necessarily having to select it, throw the grid onto the video, and do all of those adjustments again. It is a bit off, so I could, of course, then take it and tweak the effects a little bit more in order to get it accurate, but it's showing you how that is actually done, which is really what we wanted for the purpose of this tutorial. So there's 3 different methods. The first is the quick and easy one. The second one involves using a compound clip, and the third one involves using an adjustment clip.